Timmac. Sorry, we started a little early. I didn't have his audio coming through the recording system, so yeah, my bad. But yeah,
Yeah, no problem.
Tim, I'm saying, I they always talked about you, and I'm like, yo, how am I get Timmac? And I think this at this time you was playing, you was like soloing cop, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and they was like talking about you from the armor days and stuff, and they're like, yo, Tim is like such a cool guy,
Those
and
are
then,
the old school days.
yeah. And then when we finally got into when we got in the other server and you was on Gomer, I was like, finally met you. I was a little starstruck. I was just playing it off.
Really?
I was like, yo, this guy's so cool. So
I
happy
don't
to
get
have
that,
you, bro.
I appreciate it. No, yeah, hell yeah, man. This will be fun.
So
Uh,
I just kind of want to go like back because like you're like the old, like like you're like the originals. You know what I mean? Like there's a few originals. Like, can you tell me like where it all started, what got you into it, and that's from like the armor days.
From the beginning, well, in the very beginning, I was playing Armor 3, obviously we're talking on the server called Asylum.
Yeah.
And they, it was just an Arma 3. It was very arcadey type of role playing. So if you like shot somebody, like it would automatically post a bounty. Like it didn't matter. Like there was no PC or anything. It was just a automated bounty system, and then the cops would be going out. So it was a very cops and robbers type of environment, kind of like how we have it today.
Yeah.
And I'd linked up with Lyric, which was also linked in with Jamal Butterworth. He was my homie in the very beginning. Jamal was he was kind of the front runner with that squad. You know how there's always kind of like with a lot of groups you have your front runners and then the rest of them, but he was the front runner of that era. And we were just always hanging out anyway, so I got a lot of secondary exposure through him as well as direct exposure through Lyric.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then like there was a point where I was teaching Lyric how to be a cop, and we were just doing random shenanigans and stuff. So he was he actually was my my real first shot at everything.
Yeah. So did you have any like prior experience with this, like, I guess this thing that was very new, which is like role play, right?
Yeah, a little bit. So I mean, I did it with a bunch of friends. So I had a lot of, like, my train up to that point was like I was just playing a bunch of MMOs with a bunch of groups of people, from UO to EverQuest to a lot of them in between, to like I think it was Star Wars Old Republic was the last one I played with that group. And then they told me to come join them on like DayZ. And then I was teaching them like, oh, yo, here's, and then I started like streaming the stuff I was doing to them. I think it was Daisy Mod.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, let's try Arma 3. And then they showed me some random roleplay server. I don't know if it was Asylum or not, but I just remember sitting in the back of this like apple picker with them, and he gets pulled over. The dude gets pulled over, and a cop is talking to him, and all. I'm like, what is this? What is actually happening right now?
Yeah.
So crazy.
So it was.
So that's
Yeah. So kind of like you kind of just started it up. Like, obviously, I assume you had no idea this would be like this huge thing in the next couple of years. So it was just kind of like just some fun, kind of cool stuff, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely a fun thing. I knew like once I will say once I knew the first few bucks came in, I was like, wow, you can actually make money doing this. Like I'm like, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
At first it was a hobby in a way, and then like the extra little spending cash was fun. I just used that and I throw it back into the stream and stuff, or whatever it was, because I was working a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
And and then it was just like I just it just started getting bigger and bigger, and then it was like, okay, I'm quitting my job. There's no sense in even doing this anymore. I'm actually losing money being at work.
So what point? What was the shifting point for you where you're like, man, like, I'm gonna go 100% full time into this, because like you said, I'm like losing money going to work. So like, what was that shift?
It was kind of a work-life balance type of thing. So one I was just like, everything went into PayPal. So I'm seeing this account grow, and I'm like, yo, dude, this is getting crazy.
Yeah.
Like this is like the amount of money I have in this account is more than I've made the whole year at my other job.
Oof.
And it's like, okay, now I know. And then it's been consistently like that. over time and whatever it is. So you keep seeing that. And then I had the baby. And then for a work-life balance, I was just like, I can't be working a 9 to 5 and then 5 to midnight or whatever the hours were.
Yeah.
While having a kid, it's like I gotta make some extra time so I could be dad and all that. So it's I've been in a comfortable spot for a while, and then let's screw it, we'll throw it out.
So for you was just like letting everything stack in a PayPal, like you wasn't touching it. You was just like,
yeah. I mean, I used it a little bit. I was buying. I was using that as my expense account really, and then.
Got you. Yeah.
Yeah, and then my ex-wife, I bought her a kitchen. I bought a kitchen for the house because she was always spending a lot of time in there, and like we bought the house, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna throw in, I'm gonna visually show her how impressive what this is, what I'm doing right now actually is, because you can't see, you can see the number in an account and it doesn't really click. I'm like, here, check this kitchen out. Here you go, boom. And then it was like, holy shit, that I think she realized when, she saw what money that we needed to put into that actually,
so
what it materialized.
So for you, like, even for like, you said like for your ex-wife, but like, how did it, because I'm sure like you're working a 9 to 5, you're jumping on stream, you have a child, you're not even like materializing your money, like you're just going. So was that like kind of the first kind of like almost gift to yourself in a sense?
Yeah. I mean, I bought myself some nice things. Like I'd always like every once in a while I'll buy something just randomly big and nice, and it's just like I really want that. Like I bought this piano right here.
Oh,
right? Like,
sick!
That was my recent.
We're gonna get into that too.
Yeah. So those my like that's the kind of thing I'll do. I'm like, I really want something like this would be perfect. So I buy big. Normally when I buy big, and then I just don't really. And then I'm pretty like tight.
Yeah. So so is this now heading into the armor now? Like the armor servers open up with Lyric and stuff, or
so Arma opens. So I'm in there, he jumps in there, he's actually playing on a bunch of different servers, and I'm gonna be honest, I jumped on the same servers just because not to like really mooch, but it was more like, oh, there's all these different options. I didn't even really look around at these. It's so cool. Like there was like Takistan life or island life. There was all these Arma 2 ones that I was trying out too, because I played in DayZ, which kind of was similar in that sense. But yeah, it was a bunch of those Arma servers, and then Arma started developing quite a bit. It went from Asylum to Arma 3 Life, which then like they started fixing the audio quality, because before it was all in-game audio, and then they started bringing it out to like TeamSpeak.
Yeah, TeamSpeak, yeah.
They're doing it right now anyway. Like they're literally doing that right now, but they're using the Mumble plugin, right? Like that's, Mumble is also a voice communication software. So like but I think there's the plugin codec with it now. But so like that's where it started evolving from shit audio to like better audio, new map, different assets getting brought in. So Arma started evolving like it is now with like GTA. So it starts getting more advanced, and then so on and so forth. And then we went from Arma 3 Life, I think it went to Critical Gaming.
Yeah,
that's where I met Coil and that squad of people, because Coil was on the Critical Gaming dev squad. I don't know if he was initially in the dev squad. I think he joined it at one point, and then he broke off and started NoPixel.
Wow.
on Arma 3. So that was the beginning. And me and Andy were just like, dude, stream, keep streaming too while you're doing this. Like,
so you guys were saying that to Coil.
Yeah, we were
awesome.
pushing them.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
awesome.
Like, dude, you've got something great here. You should keep it. You are the number one most watched server. Like, you're working your ass off. Do something for yourself.
With that, okay, so when he broke off and created NoPixel, you're saying that was the most watched server? Or
Critical Gaming it took a bit, it took a little bit to switch over, because you know how it is, like people are very hesitant to move communities, and because this is where everything's working and all that kind of stuff. And then eventually everybody started moving off, and then it was
Awesome.
yeah.
And
When was that? I gotta look at my account on NoPixel and know what year that was.
yeah, let's just check. Let's check it.
What year was that? I want to say 2016. Joined, yeah, like May of 2016. I think I was a little late. It might have been like a little before that.
Yeah.
I think that was about right. That's maybe a month or so off.
So now you're on the Armor server, but you transition to NoPixel. Right.
Yep.
So
then we switch over to NoPixel. Yeah.
So at this time, is it just like you? Is Lyric still there, or how's?
Yeah, I think Lyric
shift?
popped in. Yeah, he was always coming back to roleplay. He was always he's always bouncing back. He's a variety streamer, so but like, every once in so often they'll come make their rounds back in RP and try that out for a bit. So yeah.
Okay.
He definitely swung through quite a few times.
So how long did the Armor server before you transitioned into GTA? I guess because it was like
well, Arma was a weird one. Arma lasted quite a bit. We were always like, I think there was assets that were getting pulled from GTA and brought into Arma because GTA didn't have the multiplayer mod and all that stuff. So they were using it was janky, but they were pulling them in, and we were just like, everyone was just, I know I was, but I was always like, oh man, it would really be great if we could, do this in GTA. It's so much nicer over there. It's like, this is so janky, Arma's so clunky, and it's a military sim kind of thing, so it wasn't really a great fit. And then, there's all these other RP games like Ark and Reign of Kings and all these different like, one-off types of environments where you could RP in it. But when I heard about 5M on this first server, like this first server came out, it's called State of Emergency, and someone's like, yo, you can go on there and do this.
It's the police server, right? It was like
that was very police heavy.
Yeah. I seen YouTube video. There was 2 YouTube guys that really blew up from it.
Yeah. So that was so popping over there, that was like, I was like probably one of the first couple streamers that went on there. And then, because I know one of Dimitri's photography from the Household Crew, Mr. Moon and Thaddeus and all those guys, Dimitri, one of his people, actually checked it out and referred him to it.
Yeah.
And then he told us about it. And yeah, I went on there. I'm like, whoa, this is awesome. Like, this is what we were talking about. The voice
smooth,
quality
everything.
Sucked ass.
Yeah.
Voice quality sucked ass, but it was still great.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then it was all downhill from there, man. Then one server to the next to the next.
So now there's who was you like running into at these times? Because a lot of people said they ran into like Ming and all of those on the Armor servers. Like a lot of people were like, yo, this was like he was the pillar.
Well, back in the Arma days, I think there was a few people that were around then. I'm trying to think of who's still around. It's funny. There's a lot of like, who's got there, like got started over there that got gigantic? Raj Patel. Or Austin.
Austin. Yeah. Oh yeah. Really?
Yeah. So he was running around in there all the time. Like that's where he was gaming and doing, trying to get his stuff. And then he switched it all up. But yeah, it was like you had Abdul there, Vader. I had my boys Jamal and Roland and Dolphin. That was part of the squad. Daft Bastard was like one of the first few people too. Trying to think of who's actually stuck around. I think Abdul and Vader are the main couple. I know Mr. Moon and Thaddeus and those guys are still they're still doing GTA and RP and all that stuff. So I'm probably missing a few people. There's a lot of dudes that were around, or a good handful of people that have stuck around still.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask you, somebody sent me a clip. It said 9 years ago, and it was like you marrying Ming. It was like,
was I marrying Ming?
Yeah, they were like, yo, you need to.
Ming. I remember Ming, dude. Ming in the beginning, dude. Ming was the squad of me, him, and this dude. I pooped my shorts was his name, and he had this like Stone Cold Steve Austin character. And there's this one clip, man, where what was it? It was like like the reason our reason for being arrested and detained is like some evil Knievel dude came in, jumped in our car, and told us to jump over the river or something like that. And it was just like most ridiculous story we could think of. And it was like the laughter and all that stuff. It was probably one of the funniest fucking moments I had with Ming. But that was like, but Ming was kind of a secondary to Austin, or to who am I sure it's Andrew.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's great to see that he stuck with it so long.
Yeah.
And then kind of did his own thing and figured his own stuff out. But it's there's some really funny clips from back then, man. I cringe a little bit, but it's good.
Good times.
Yeah.
So now, okay, so now, you know, you're going to a bunch of different servers, like, you know, state of emergency. You're kind of just shifting all over the place. How does the NoPixel now shift to the GTA space, and when do you enter that space and that becomes dominantly your home?
So GTA, when things went to GTA, it was a little bit of a branch off because NoPixel wasn't involved there as much. So it was, you know, where you kind of play the what do people watch type of game when you're being a streamer. And it's not like I have anything personal or anything, or I didn't want to go over there. I just get very hyper focused on what I'm doing, one thing at a time.
Yeah.
You know, that's always been the way I do things. But so State of Emergency came out. We all played on there for a while, and then that branched out into it was like, it was a big fuck this moment, and then they ended up making Family RP. And then, you know, I ended up being an admin on there, which never again. I'm never doing that again.
Wait. You gotta touch into that. What's the, you know, because people don't understand, like, you know, I feel like admins get a lot of slack and whatever, but
dude, they have the most thankless job.
Yeah, it's got to be hard as, you know, it's crazy. So what was that experience like, you being an admin?
Well, we're kind of like pioneers in this realm, right? And we're all trying to figure out how to make this a good community, make it work, no toxicity, have fun, good role players, and all that stuff. And there's just like a lot of differences in opinion from that level, where it's like, oh, let's get a bunch of streamers on here. That'd be great. You know, bring some visibility. And it's like, you know, and then there's this like other mentality of like, I don't want to let people in. I know, well, they may not have said this out loud, but I know it's like they don't want to bring bigger people in because then they start pulling the attention away. And it's like, you know, people hold on to their chips, aka viewer counts.
Yeah.
And don't want those to be spread out around the table as much, even though that's generally more healthy for the whole community when you do stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there was this whole like exclusive like type of attitude, which I didn't like. I am a very open and, you know, willing person to, you know, either correct the behavior, have talks, be open and transparent, and, you know, less toxicity. And, you know, I was being, you know, during all this, I was being called a giant hypocrite, which, you know, whatever, say what you want. But at the same time, the message was definitely that. And I genuinely feel like that was my intention of it all.
Yeah.
When I was saying things, I might have had, you know, negative, you know, 1,000 IQ or negative 1,000 speech fucking moment there. But
yeah.
You know, they'll take their little clips and, like, you know, they made this big ass video which had millions of views, and it was just like, oh, hypocrites of, you know, State of Fam RP.
Yeah.
This big smear like video. And that was like whatever.
Yeah.
You know, people still kind of bring it up once in a while. Like, it's much less frequent, and probably it'll be more now that I'm talking about it. But at the same time, it's it really created this tension where, like, you have all this pressure on you to make the community better, and then you know how it is. And then there's like a divide, and NoPixel starting up at the same time now in GTA, and, you know, and Coyle was really nice. He was like willing to give us code for the server so we could get the thing going, and, you know, he was being chill with the whole idea of having two communities. And then it's just like, you know, viewers get so polarized where they like this is when like you're coming from Arma, which was one of the most toxic types of environments when it came to players versus players and out of character moments. And ban this guy, bring him into assault room. Like that's what the assault room was. They used to pull both people into a channel with an admin and talk about stuff. And
did you find that works better, like when they pulled them in the room?
No, that was awful.
Yeah.
Looking back at that was the most toxic fucking thing you could do. Publicizing somebody's ban.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
It was so bad. Now it's like the complete opposite. It's like there is an anonymous staff type of communication. You shouldn't be talking. I mean, they don't really say not to talk about it, but you know, it's definitely not something you want to be spreading out there, because the more you start commenting on staff action, the more people start ridiculing and criticizing and stuff like that. So it has to be like, I realized over time, and we're early on this, remember that we're transitioning from this one place to another, that you know, there's a good way to do it to keep things cordial and least amount of drama and toxicity to this point where it's
you guys are trying to figure it out as you go, like what's the best balance, and then you're coming across all these problems, and then it becomes problematic and it becomes toxic.
And and everybody's has a different opinion on players and their RP and what they should be doing and stuff. And the team of admins was like, I want to say like 6 or so.
Yeah. Do you find that too? Like when I guess when people don't like I feel like sometimes people, when the RP doesn't go the way certain people want it to go, then they say it's bad RP on the other half. Like, do you find that a lot?
During this time, I'm gonna say a lot of this is hazy. I don't even remember most of the stuff. Like everything, I get so overfilled with like new information that the old stuff that's relating to it is kind of just like barely.
It's a blur.
But it's the differences of opinion in RP definitely made things like somebody like me from an Arma background. There's so much shooting. So much shooting. Like, everything stop. It was like, if anything was minimal, you would just wish that people would like make an effort at some point. That's it. Like some kind of effort to create like a bit of a scenario instead of it just be stop or die was literally the
stop or die.
That was the phrase people would do because everything moves so quick.
Oh my gosh. It was,
and I'm just, it's, and then like you'll have some sort of bank shooting, and then there's too many shootings, and then it's like, oh, this is unacceptable. You shouldn't be doing this that often. And like, I'm thinking, I don't really give a shit, but I'll back the, idea of it if that's the way you want to take the server and all that. Like, more of a slow burn approach where you're not going to be just, killing people all day. I get it, but there's all those differences of opinion, and like it was evolving from this very slow burn aspect, and then you brought in some more action oriented players, and like it was it was crazy, a very hard thing for people to understand and adjust to.
Okay, so and now you're like
I get salty and ban people because of that.
Yeah. So now you're at Family RP as an admin. You step down and go to NoPixel, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Okay. And does most of the players come over, or is it just a few?
I was a bit delayed with it. I have this imposter like syndrome. I feel like I don't want to, like, especially after all that and creating a separate community, to like then leave it and go to one that's growing. You feel like there's some sort of dirtiness. I feel like join that community. It just doesn't, while I just want to have fun and just meet more people.
Yeah.
And like part of me was like, dude, this I really kind of like the idea of this, because these are my roots. Like this is where I, got my start, and just supporting the old school people that helped me get going. That's the take I started having with it. And there was days where I took a day off, I went over there, and I'm like, you know what, dudes, that server, it's a really good server, man. The people are fun. Like the idea of everything, the way they have it set up is a lot of fun. It's a bit more fast paced, and I kind of like that. It kind of like keeps you more engaged. So, like you can kind of see why.
Yeah.
But like the idea of like not people are afraid of what they don't know kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
like I think
Afraid
that's
of the
where that a
unknown.
lot of
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
So they had I feel like there was that's where like a lot of the opinions came from that idea. And then like I started like I probably had some not great things, but but like I once I got over there, I was like, you know what, guys, maybe some of the things I said was a bit unfair. It actually is a lot of fun. I enjoyed my time there. I don't want to. And this isn't like a PR thing. It was just actually genuine, and
Yeah.
it was like I had a really good time on there. I'm like, dude, I'm they have a good product over here, and then I just started spending more time there, and sale of me, that was it.
Yeah. Okay, so now you kind of so like I kind of wanted to ask you too. How do you you have such good characters, right? How do you get into like that mental space of making the new character and then forming that character and becoming, because like to me Gomer is like, I first met Gomer like recently, right? And I was like, wow, like it really feels
it came from.
If Gomer really feels like a person to me, it's crazy because it's like,
yeah,
I could talk to you and then get in game and then talk to Gomer and I don't feel like it's you. It's mind blowing.
So the Gomer's evolved a bit. He's definitely like the idea of Gomer was part of the household. Like Mr. Moon, Thaddeus, and Dimitri. I think Wish came on, and I don't know if Jam did. Coolidge. All these guys, and we made the Colton family, and Gomer was just one of the Coltons at that time. I was just like, and I did a random name generator just to join the group and have this hillbilly bunch of people.
Yeah.
And it was just supposed to be some random ass crazy nonsense redneck like family that just caused terror, really. And then they all kind of stopped playing him, and I was like, oh, I really like the character, and I started evolving him. But you take what I do when I'm picking, like trying to come up with character traits is I'll take an idea of something I know really well. Like in this case, like it reminded me of like just an uncle, one of my like really gruff uncles that I have, and like I just kind of like leaned into that idea, and he's like, oh, whatever, kind of stuff like that. He's like, oh, come back here, come over here, man. Like it's kind of like this, like he's got this energy about him. I'm like, okay, let me try to like tap into that and like use those ideas and see where it goes and see where it evolves and what's more natural to me.
Yeah.
So then you have like, and then you just kind of feel like certain tendencies that want to come out, and you like kind of adjust those, reactions or approaches or thought processes, and just kind of the inflection with the way you want to talk about it. So there's a lot that goes into it, but it's something that you develop over time.
Yeah. It's just
you kind of play to your own personal traits in that way, then just like, so it feels more natural.
Yeah. So yeah, because man, like the talent that comes behind, because a lot of people think role playing is just like, yeah, it's role playing, but there's a lot of like talent. There's just a lot of talent and time it takes to create, and just kind of like you're improving as a creation. Right, yeah. So you know what I mean? Yes. So it's like, when you see characters like Gomer, you're like, damn, like how is he not like, he almost becomes it. It's like, actors, when they act for a movie, they shoot the movie over 6 months, they kind of have to go into this like personality, but it's like role playing. It's like you're doing that 12 hours a day, all day, going off the fly and being watched. You don't have no script.
Well, that's it. No script. That's where I will say my biggest struggle is coming up with things to do, and like being more proactive with it. Like I can react and play my character's traits to any situation that's thrown at me, but like putting myself in and starting to create and involve, like that's where I have a bit more trouble, like coming up with stuff, because it's like I don't want to do the same thing twice, but then again I end up not doing much. So I've always, that's my biggest thing, like where I have trouble.
That's like very interesting you say that, because like, me from a viewer perspective, I would have never like caught that, because you seem very innovative, always creating and stuff like that. And to touch on that, like, what are some of the, I guess, what are some of like the fears or trials and tribulation you go through as like a role player? Like like how do you push yourself? How do you not get stuck in the box? Like, what do you go through?
I don't know. I'm one of those people that I like to stay in my own lane for the most part. And I don't know, there's some sort of like imposter syndrome. I guess this is probably like looming guilt from the beginning of just like the way getting exposure works doesn't feel very I don't know, if it's a little grimy in a way, like, because you're gaining success off of someone else's work all the time, right? Like, because while it's kind of collaborative effort in a way, if you think about it, that makes it a bit more reasonable. The thing is, like, when you start like being like, oh, big streamer, come over here, let's go do something, like,
Yeah,
that is, while I love the dude, like, and I really enjoy playing the character, whoever it is, there's a part of it that knows about the business behind it, and it's like, well, this feels a bit greedy to try to take somebody, and like I kind of like push myself the other way a lot of the time, and then like I don't ever get into. That's why I've never been a big growth type of person, because I've always kept that maybe bite-sized portions of that without like latching on. You see what happens when someone really latches on to a bigger streamer. You see that they go straight up. I
agree, and I agree to a certain extent, because I'm like the same way. It's like hard for me to like, we call it clout, right? To like clout chase, or because I'm like very like, I don't even want it to like even come off of that way. So it's like sometimes I would want to call somebody, but I'm like, I don't even want it to, because like you said, you're there at a big platform, and it's just like you don't want to suck that energy, because does it feel genuine or disgenuous?
Yeah.
And then there's 100%. Other people who just doesn't care. They look at it, they're like,
they don't care. They go for
this
it.
Is
they
a business.
Go for gold,
But I also think you still have to have some type of, because you see a lot of clout chasers, whatever, but you still have to have some type of like talent for those people to stick.
Of course, no, it doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of people really latch on and not go anywhere because they don't really bring something attractive.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That. You need to have that pull and some sort of charisma with it. Otherwise, it doesn't work at all. And and some people it'll work well with, and others it won't work, because there's a lot of different energy and personalities out there where you can match up better with certain ones over another, and then that starts. And you know how it is, like personality usually attracts like-minded types of viewers.
Exactly.
And then they start, And
I think I think you, like, to me, like, you, like, it's crazy because I guess you're in it, so you see it. But to me, I'm looking at you, I'm like, Timmac is huge. Like, he's created this. He's created this. Yeah, but you're in it. That's why, right? But you also got to look at like how the people look at you. It's like you've created this. You've been able to do this for what, 7-8 years consistently?
Almost 10.
10 years, dude. 10 years consistently, every day, and all have this consistent fan base that loves you, that talks highly about you, dude. If that's not like it, I don't know. You know what I mean? There's people who come in waves, and then they. Like, look how much people came after and they're not around no more.
It's just the viewership is so volatile in RP. Like, if you know how it is. Like, you play a different game and it's like, and mine do the same thing, because my whole background is RP, and that's just the way people. That's just how they do it. They're really into the story and the server and the environment and the ongoings of everything happening. That like you switch off, but I mean there's always a bigger fish, and there's always someone that feels the same way, even if you think they like if someone's just getting started streaming, they see me and they're all nervous about it, but I'm feeling the same way about the the 10K Andy over
Yeah,
here that's
yeah.
bumping into. It's like, shit, dude. I want to make sure I put on a good,
Yeah,
good
yeah.
show for their people. Not necessarily to attract, but to make their show better.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. And it's do you think it's like you said, like, you play a different game, you see the drop, da da da. But do you think
Yeah,
that's do you think that's the gift and the curse of role playing?
it is because the RP community is ridiculously supportive. Because I call it creative art. I honestly think it's a creative art. Which, if you think about different types of creative arts, like like Cirque du Soleil or Broadway shows and all these different things, they have these big ticket price tags, and they're super popular and sell out all over the place. The same thing with with RP. We're all acting, we're playing a character, we're doing this. It's an art in a way, right? Where
Yeah,
you're
it's
acting
definitely an
out.
art. Yeah.
So, but then you go to Tarkov and you start shooting people, and it's just like while there's a base for that, they're not like supporting the show. They're just they're having fun together kind of way. I mean, they do. There's definitely a lot of support there, but it's more you see where I'm going with
Yeah,
that.
no,
Like
I get what you're saying.
it's
Yeah.
like paying for a movie ticket in a way.
So in a sense now, for you, like, people, I know the OG viewers know, but like a lot of the new viewers don't know. They don't know that Gomer has been a part of like CG from like 2.0.
Yeah, never really completely officially, but always if it was a group, that was the group he'd always kind of come back to, because we just enjoyed the people a lot. But there was a branch where it was and Sonya's back, Sonya Summers and Bo Tinker, so Blue is
Blue,
so
yeah.
that was kind of another branch of CG with that. So all these guys, we ended up doing this like Black Betty thing on 2.0. It was just kind of like buying and selling kind of crime group, and doing little random crimes here and there, and trying to get into like cocaine and things like that. So it was kind of it was a branch off, and then got into cop stuff. And then that occupied a bunch of like a few years there doing just strict cop work. And then then I kind of fell off with CG. I mean, I did still kind of like I was kind of a different time zone, or time slot. So I was doing late night stuff, and I never really overlapped with the guys too often. So I never really, it feels like I kind of had this disjoint, but I never really gave up on it. It was just more like I was just doing other shit.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
now we're 4.0, not to like skip, because we still gotta like, but
Yeah.
now how does your character fits so well with the boys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's definitely such a great like I love Gomer. Like I love like I don't know, like you said, it feels like the redneck uncle, you know what I mean? And he's just man, well, whatever, nothing does not work for Gomer. Gomer's gonna make some shit happen regardless.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what's great about CG is there's so many just unique personalities all over the place. Everybody brings something different, and they all bring something equally great, which I think is really cool. So I feel like Gomer is just kind of like that one self-sufficient entity that's just, he's got a different vibe that other people don't have. And it's just like, I wanted to be a part of that same kind of idea where the boys have been super supportive. I mean, Garrett, like literally Garrett is always behind the scenes showing support and talking to me. Like he's one of the best that
is an amazing person.
He's a ridiculously amazing person. Always keeping in touch and seeing how things are doing, seeing if he can help in any way. Always supportive. All of them are. Everybody's while I'll get ghosted by literally 90% of my DMs, all of the guys will always respond.
Yeah.
Like every single one of them.
Yeah. That's why I love about the boys, man. Like they always help. Like even, I got like you know, when I first came into NoPixel, like I was there for like 2 months, and I was just like an artist on Wu Chang, and I got like permaban for like, I guess, yeah, like something, whatever. And the boys was rooting for me, and then I guess they ended up talking to Coil, and Coil looked into it, and Coil was like, "Oh yeah, this is something that shouldn't, like, you know." And then
it's not so bad,
yeah, you know, it wasn't so bad, and obviously he knew like, oh, he does the music, he brings value, so he was like, yeah, let's. And that took 8 months, but they were like, I could have been just someone they forgot
months.
about.
Oh, that's rough, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, and then even bringing me into the camp, and like Garrett, like, you know, Garrett like lives probably like 20 minutes from me. He's invited me to his house. Yeah, like sweet. Garrett's just like, Garrett's the example of like how I need to be. You know what I mean?
He's a great example of how to do it right, for sure, man. Like, there's so much you can learn off that dude. Like, and he's more than willing to give you a hand with it if you ever ask to.
Yeah, and then like you got Kay and Rami, like their talents is just like, when I'm with Kay, I'm a sponge. Like, how does he think about these things? How does he come up with this? Like, he's just like,
he's an actual fucking. I'm honest. I'm being honest here. I think he's an actual fucking genius.
No, for real. And he's like a humble genius. He needs to be on his Kanye really shit. He needs to be on his humble shit, because he's like, bro, he can create like for me, and like music wise, like I can think of like a song. I can like, he's like that when it comes to role play. He's like times 10.
I think everybody's kind of like a genius in their own way, in some way. Like Rami is like a comedic genius, but he's I never stop laughing with him around. He's probably one of the funniest fucking people I've ever met, like, in my entire life.
Everybody needs a Rami in their group. He's such a gem. He's hilarious. And then, like you said, you go down to all the boys. It's like, bro,
all have
something. And that's I think that's what's the, you know, the real gem with, like, you know, groups like CG, because they're like, everybody's a gem in their right way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but I don't want to like steer off. So so
okay.
We're so 2.0. How do you create, you know, Timmac, this crazy, you know, cop that everybody loves? How do you because I guess, like, how do
being
you?
The cop in the beginning was hard to get. By the way, it took a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it like as far as like being a cadet, or just even getting to that point?
Getting to that point, it's like how the cops are right now.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of cops that have, you know, I had my cop, you know, background on fam, and so it was like I did a lot of cop work, and then I came over, and it was like, oh shit, well, yo, can I be cop? It's like, yo, can I get this going? And then, you know, it was kind of like this, hello, just trying to like get a response, like, and see like where things are at, like, yo, can I get hooked up? But it wasn't as many spots, and I don't know, the cop force has always been a weird one, like trying to get involved if like you're not in it already.
Yeah.
So it's getting through that first wall that's always kind of like awkward, and
that's a you main cop for a very long time, right?
Mm-hmm. I love it. I love it. There's something about because, like I said, coming up with stuff is kind of a hard thing, and you can do that as a cop, but like getting involved in being an assist to someone else's, you know, scene, or, you know, whatever they're doing, like, it's so much easier to. I thrive in that environment. That's like where I can really kind of gauge and look around and assess the situation and start like building up places where I think it could use some help, or, you know, or like really bring some fun to it, or whatever it might be. But yeah, Mac was supposed to be just kind of I don't really know how to. He's just kind of like a laid back. Really can be either really professional or doesn't give a shit. Really, kind of like, it depends. Like, it's really flexible type of character where, like, as a cop for, like, you need to have that kind of flexibility, or if because the forces love to adjust their approach. Whether it's just like you want to be L cops, or you want to be super professional, you want to have like top tier skill, like all this stuff where, you know, you need to be like versatile in that sense, because it does change and evolve a lot. Like, it goes, like, right now it's super slow burn. Yeah. Give it 6 months from now, you're gonna be chasing bank robbers all day. Like, it's totally different. It's totally different vibe.
So how do you balance that like as a cop, because you like, you know, you're seeing so like, you know, like as a crim state of mind, it's like crims tend to think of like me, like, well, why is this happening to me? But as a cop, you see so many different things. How do you stay like balanced in a sense where you don't become one dimensional? Like, how do you still stay flexible in situations? Like you said, in 6 months from now, it's just bank chase, bank chase, bank chase. That gets
well, you match energy, right? Like, I think the best thing to adapt to the climate is to just match the energy that's put in front of you, and like and kind of gauge like the overall energy of the server. Like, are people trying, like, if someone's given me like all I need is 1 ounce of energy, and then like I can really expand the situation quite a bit. So if someone's like bitching and saying this guy's an asshole, or like, you know, he's talking about how shitty this cop is, it's like, all right, hold that, I'll slow it down, and then I'll like educate him, and I'll be like, yo, this is the reason why, this is what we're supposed to do, this is what we saw, we have the evidence here, we have to do this, you know, and kind of like break it down for him. And then it's like you can really see an attitude shift. And that's what my big approach was as a cop, was to help educate the criminals, to show them why we're doing the things we're doing.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to give them advantage, but to give them a bit of perspective on what happened. And like, you know, the matter of like this, we had like fucking 2 seconds to respond to this. Like, you can't really expect a whole, you know, study session on this before we react. Like, sometimes, you know, it's a bit sloppy, you know. You know, those are the types of things we work on to try to have better snap decisions. But, you know, like I found that like if it came down to any one thing you do with like criminals when you're dealing with them, you first either you give them the chance to kind of take the show, you add to it and kind of add your own element to it to try to make it better. But the criminals are setting the scene and the cops are responding, right? Like, that's you know, response, that's literally what cops do. Sometimes investigations and stuff are a little bit more proactive, but you're still responding to something that's happened. But
yeah.
So you're responding, so naturally you're going to be supporting. So you have to just make sure you're always that supporting role, and you add your own kind of element. You can kind of take the show once you have like an approach to like an arrest or something, but it's a weird animal where there's so many different styles that, like, you know, there's a lot that work, but I found for me as Mac, like, educating and, you know, being approachable, being like a good, like, knowledgeable cop, that seems to really come across, you know, in all environments really well.
Wow, that's a good approach. That's an elevated approach, because I know even for me, like, I just started like playing cop on another server as well.
Yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very you know, and obviously the tier of roleplay is not as high, whatever. But it's like, yeah, like to see the perspective of like a cop, and like, wow, it's like it's easy to get jaded because you just see so much shit. You're just like, wow. So it's definitely good. That's like definitely good advice on like approach to have, like a mindset to have going into a scene.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's definitely tough, and you doing that every day, you know.
Point though,
yeah. You know,
you that's where you ask questions. If you don't have that knowledge, that's where you always ask the questions. Be like, what's our approach to this? What's our goal? You know, like, that's what, as a cadet, they should just never stop asking questions. You should always be like, why this? What, you know, what are we doing here? How do we do this? Like, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like, and just really, and it's so weird because it's so second nature to a lot of cops. Some cops just don't know how to verbalize it. You need to have someone you can really communicate with too. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I've done this for years. I just don't know how to say it out loud though.
Yeah. That's great.
That's why I really like getting into training, because I feel like I'm pretty decent at like kind of explaining things in that way.
So for you, what's your plans? Like, what's your character's plans for like 4.0?
For Gomer, honestly, it's been, right now it's just network in a way, like not necessarily. I was doing a bunch of grime runs. I was getting some cash. All that cash is in other people's hands right now, so it's like, all right, well, now I'm kind of broke, so I might do a little work, but it was the past few days I've just kind of been floating around and seeing what the hell's going on the server, and it's just kind of vibing out to see where the criminal direction's gonna end up going.
Yeah.
It's sounds like it's just gonna be like kind of chipping to buy a house, and then we'll probably see where that goes.
Yeah.
But,
and then
it's very civilian right now though.
Yeah. So are you bringing Mac back?
Max, I've created him. He's applied and everything, and actually went back to the PD last night and talked to Bayo's character, who's the Shift 3 cat, or not Bayo, Iceman's character. I think Wyatt. I don't know. I forget his name exactly, but yeah, it's there's he went in there yesterday to just kind of be like, hey, I just want to be a face. I didn't meet the captain yet. I'd like to say hello and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take a bit more of a New York approach. Like, hey, how you doing? What's going on?
Yeah.
Look, I was back from New York. I was over there for 5 years, and I was like, so I'm like doing this whole. I'm trying to adjust the character because I know they want a bit of a different style of the characters, and then just be the same cop back in 4, and then it'll just be 3.0 again.
Yeah. Awesome.
So just waiting to hear back if I do get anything and when that's gonna happen.
So for you, like, your work ethic is crazy, right? So like, what is your, like, sometimes I see you like 14 hours, 15 hours straight, like.
I don't get any. And in terms of work ethic, I'm the worst.
Like you just you just go crazy. Like, where do you find that, and how do you like balance that with your real life?
Yeah, if I don't have a real life, I fucking just sit here and stream all day. I know. I mean, if I have something scheduled, I make time for it. Like this, like you're like, yeah, let's do this. On the second, I'll be like, I'll be up around this time. I gave myself a couple hour buffer just in case, because I oversleep or something. But it's normally sleep, wake up, do a couple things, and then
pull back to it.
Again. Yeah.
And it's just like. Is that like?
It's not really the best thing though.
Is that like the addiction to like work? Because you're working.
A bit. I'm a workaholic.
Yeah.
I'm a straight workaholic. Yeah. I don't how they say work hard, play hard. I just work hard.
That's it.
I just work hard. Yeah. So that's my work life balance is not very good.
Yeah.
I will say that it's not a very good thing. And I think what happened is, like, I'll normally end up like situating myself to like the evenings because, like I said, there's so many different people during the day. There's so many broadcasters, such a like clout, like tug of war, right? I feel like all the time, and not necessarily they're doing that like outwardly. It's just more like that's the way it all works. And where's the viewer count going to pull? And it's like, where I want to bring the show here. So I want to bring, I want to make this my fucking big break or whatever people might be thinking. I don't even know. And I normally just like all of that chaos. I normally was just like, this is a lot. So I'll end up like adjusting to the late night because that's when everyone's off.
Yeah.
And I just I know it's like DJ and stuff, but I do really well with improv and not like really. Involving the same groups of people all day. Like, I kind of like the randomness of not seeing the same people all the time. And like at night, you have a lot of different people.
Yeah.
Every day is different people. So, and you see the same people, but like, I feel like the rat race kind of just goes to bed. And then
yeah.
People kind of come over.
The chaos stops. Yeah.
So that's why, like, so I'll do long hours when things are good, and then like if I do a late day from the morning until like the afternoon, and then people start waking up, I get involved with that. It's like, fuck, man, I should probably keep going. But it's I'm all over the place in that sense. And if that part like catches too long for me, then my schedule's out of whack. So
then you're like, you're messed up for the whole week. Plus,
it's rough. Yeah, don't even what you need to do is pick your hour window, your work window, and stick to it.
Yeah.
If you want to keep playing the fucking game, end the stream and just play the game off stream, because like that's. There's less pressure, and then you can be like, all right, I'm out of here.
Yeah,
you don't have to have like the whole whatever, but yeah, that's the best way to make it work.
I think for me, even for me right now, is like mine was like kind of like 1 p.m., 2 p.m. But now because it's so hard to get in, I'm like 2 a.m. and it's just like I'm all over the place, man. So it's because it's harder.
Late night shit is it's tough.
Yeah,
it's a tough one, man, dude. That
but just gotta ride that wave. Just it is what it is.
Yeah, it's just try to bring something you can, like something fun.
Yeah.
Like just always want to bring something fun and like be good energy all the time. You want to be positive, you want to be inclusive, you want to like kind of run stuff like and that's the hardest fucking thing in the world is to like come up with something that involves other people that can where you're kind of running the show on that. And then you become more like, oh, this is a focal point right here that people are relying on. Here you go. There's some and then you bring a couple of cool characteristics that's fun to be around, then you're golden.
You're good to go. So
yeah,
I got some questions people were asking, wanted me to ask you. I'll just run a couple. So somebody asked, what's the best thing to do on stream for people who are looking at getting into streaming?
Best thing to do is don't dock hours. You want to make productive use of your time. Because when you're starting streaming, send it to your friends. Right. First off, I'm always like, yo, send your stream to your friends that you're playing games with, and have them watch while you're chilling, and kind of get used to the feel of it, and be like, and then someone might pop in your chat. It's like, okay, I get a feel for that. And then what you want to do is, you really need to network out. You need to network out. Discovery on Twitch is dog shit. You're never going to get exposure from the bottom. They will not show your stream to anybody. Never. And no one's going to go looking for it. So you need to go look for the people that have found a few viewers, whether it's their friends or more. And then you collaborate. You play games together. You expose yourself to that community. And then you bring more people in. And or you find some sort of way to bring a community to you that's not through Twitch discovery, because that's never going to work.
Yeah.
So if you're really trying to grow and be, make this a serious thing, if it's not just a hobby, then you need to find ways to get people to your stream more than actually just staying live, right? Like you have to have this other approach to finding the people. You don't let them find you, you find them.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. Make that part of your approach.
Okay. Yeah, when you streaming for all these long hours, how do you not run out of juice?
I do sometimes. It definitely wears on you over time. It's I don't know, I guess I'm just programmed. There's this thing, like, it's called a flow state.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at flow state, it's some sort of mental like energy where you have like this when you're engaged in something. And this might be my ADHD. Like if I'm really into something, I'm super hyper focused. If I'm not into it, I can't pay attention to anything. So when I do get focused into something, you'll see me do like fucking 20, 30 hour streams. Yeah. But when I'm not, you'll see me barely make 6 or 7. So it's kind of like,
yeah, I feel I'm the same way. Like when it's hitting, I'm there. Like I can't stop.
Yeah, just think about like something like I don't know if did you play New World at all? Like
no, I didn't play
you ever pick up a new MMO and you just played it for like 30, like a crazy amount of hours? It's that like grind in the next step and the next step and the next step. Like, it keeps providing you that next step to do. So like for me, like I have like ultra focused like personality like that, and I'm like always want to see the next thing. So that's that's kind of like where it comes from.
Yeah.
And if I'm in RP and I get into a cool thing, it's like, oh, we're getting into something new, and this is happening afterwards, and we're like, one thing after another, and then you just forget, lose track all the time. You don't have to like actually make a conscious effort to pull yourself off, which I don't do.
Okay.
So that's why it ends up going so long.
And also, you do really good music. You can sing.
Not really.
You can play keys.
Yep.
Like where did that background come from?
Growing up. Actually, you can't hear that though, can you?
Yeah,
a little bit. It cuts out because of the activity. But I grew up playing piano. I don't really sing very well. Like, it's either okay it depends if it's in my range or not. I never end up like finding good songs because I have a deeper voice, so most songs are.
I've heard you sing. You can sing.
generally a higher register.
Yeah.
You know, so like finding like the right song is kind of hard. Like finding that root key that I settle in is,
Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't really pay attention to the theory of it, but the music stuff, I kind of just had a keyboard all the time. I took lessons when I was really little, and then just always had a keyboard, and that was my creative outlet that I was just jammed out on, like when I was, you know.
So yeah, because somebody sent me a clip, and I was like, damn, this was like a couple months ago. I was like, I never knew this.
Was that with Chody at the hospital when he came to the car or something?
Yeah.
I remember that one. Yeah.
And I was like, we should definitely, like, you know, you got time. I know you like the keys. If you could whip something up, you know what I mean. I can send it to my producer guy. And we can just make a song. You know what I mean. And I think you on the keys, and you know, if you wanna put some vocals on it, I think that would be awesome because.
Oh shit!
I think it would be cool, man. Like,
I kind of want to do a Gomer song. I really want to do a Gomer song.
I definitely think you need to do a Gomer song. There should have been already a Gomer song.
I know. I don't know the approach. I'm not really good at like making music. I'm good at like jamming out, like, and just coming up with like chord progressions and stuff that sounds good. But like when it comes to like composing some end-to-end song, I never have done something like that.
If you can do like if you just come up with a main chord progression and then like. You know, I've got the resources that can build around that, and we can make it some like
easily
country, some grimy shit, whatever, however you're feeling, you know.
Yeah,
and we can get it done. I don't know if you heard a Hutch song, but you've seen what we've done with Hutch, so.
Oh yeah, okay.
and Hutch has no background of anything, and he's doing wonders.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's awesome. Hey man, I can do it.
Yeah.
Let's go. I'm down.
Yeah.
I just need a little bit of guidance to be like, yo, come up with this, and then I'll try to knock it out. And
yeah, I'll just say like, you know, just even what you did with Chody, like if you were to do that, you record that, you send that to me, I can just make sure like.
Yeah, I mean this can hook into like a DAW anyway. So
exactly.
Like Ableton and shit. So like I can actually like when this thing is hooked up, like I can see Ableton on the screen of the keyboard, so I can like kind of.
Yeah, so
it's but I need to learn Ableton a bit. I don't know how to work with that.
So you know what you're doing already. You could do Ableton. You could do Fruity Loops. Fruity Loops is more easier. Like,
well, I used to use Fruity Loops. Yeah. FL Studio.
Yeah,
I did a lot of stuff. I would in the past because my keyboard before wasn't. It was nice. It was like a Korg, but now I got a Roland. But I used to record like a MIDI track to FL Studio. I'd tweak it and quantize it, and then play the MIDI back to the keyboard and then record the output. So like then I would, you know, that would be the track for it.
So you know what you're doing.
I'm a tech guy though. In the end of it, I'm an IT background, so like I can figure shit out. But it's
like,
so
you know, like I said, you could send the MIDI, you could send whatever, and then I can just get it over and then send you back, and then you can whatever you want to record.
I want to use the sound off this keyboard somehow though. I just got to make it. If we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
But I definitely think it should be done because I think Gomer is going to be really huge in 4.0.
You think so?
Yeah, I do.
Well, Gomer's in a pretty awesome spot right now. He's head security of Dab, Maxwell Thoroughbred Moon. So he's.
Oh, I actually met him, a young Dab, right? And he
he has a huge background, old school background with him.
Yeah, he sent me a song. I didn't even know who he was. Like chat was like, "Oh, that's Moon," but
I love him.
I didn't know who it was, and then he sent me a song, so I checked it out. He was like, "Yo, I want to." He said he wants to like do this, so I was like, "Hey, man, we got a collab in. Let's do it." You know, so hey.
Yeah, Moon is a fantastic person. He's K level of like genius when it comes to motivation and ideas. Like,
damn, that's crazy.
He's got some huge big ideas, and he's like very, very smart, very charismatic, influential. And he's got the whole thing, man. He just joined the admin team of NoPixel. I saw him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That was as of yesterday, I think.
Yeah, awesome. When I met him in character, he was nothing but awesome. He was chill guy. That's why I also like meeting people and I don't know who they are because I'm like, I don't overthink it. You know, when I know who they are, I don't want to fuck up.
Yeah, it does.
You know,
that's how I am, but I hide from everybody.
if I don't know who you are first, I'm like, yo, he's like, yo, man, like you do music. I was like, yeah, I used to, and he was like, all right, well, send me what you got. And I was, I said you send me what you got. Let's do it, yo.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Hell yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm down to do music. I really want to get back into it. That's something I think that's super important to have that creative outlet of, it's, I use it as like, kind of my therapy when I'm not going to therapy in a way, like you just have an instrument. It's so important to have something like that.
Definitely,
yeah.
I definitely think like even with GTA and like role play, I definitely think there is an awesome pocket for music that's still untapped. And I definitely it's gonna
of course, yeah.
change a lot of things of how things, transpire. So I think you should be, you got the talent. I think that should just be something, and people are gonna be wild.
How to apply it,
yeah.
I know. They'll be wild, really.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because a lot of people always come in my chat and they be like, "Yo, you need to do a song with Timmac." I was like, "Timmac." They sent me the clip. They sent me that clip with Chody, and then they sent me a clip like I think it was 2.0 or maybe the beginning of 3.0, and you were singing at
the Gomer singing?
Yeah, at a country
really?
event.
Man. Yeah, I was doing like Johnny Cash or something with Gomer.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, like don't.
It's hard. It's funny. I've actually doing like different, like the voice control on Gomer is getting a lot better too, because I'll be doing like Gomer and like, I'll do an impression, hello, and then it's all this country and all this stuff, and then like you switch it up to like throwing a little, like kind of mimicking like a New Yorker. He's like, "Oh, how you doing? Hey, how's it going?" Like, so it's like you have, and meanwhile I have this whole New York like background too, which that's where I'm originally from. So it's funny, like actually kind of evolving the voice and like the control of it all has been a lot of fun to play with. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I used to live in New York too.
With music too, if I do it right.
Yeah, I think you can. Does your voice hurt though? Like when you do it for so long, or because I know Judd was telling me his voice, he can't do it. Like 12 hours would like mess up his voice or something like that. He was saying something.
I have lazy versions of it where I can go and have a full conversation where it's not so like this, but more like, I'm talking like this the whole time. So there's, you know what I mean? So then I can kind of not shred the vocal cords the whole time and just kind of let it a bit looser.
Jeez.
So that's kind of how I do that.
The talent.
As a kind of as an accent.
Yeah. All right. Oh man,
it's hard. It's tricky though. Sometimes I let it go and I fuck my voice up though.
Well,
I get tiring. I can tell I'm getting really tired if I'm talking too much like that. I'm like, fuck. I messed up today.
You just get like so do you like drink tea, water, or like hot, like, or
coffee. I'm just drinking coffee and like Powerade. It's whatever. I'm not really paying attention to it.
So like when you so like you don't have a direct schedule, you just kind of have like a base, kind of like
I'm just all over the place. Like, yeah, I'll probably be on in like couple hours or like an hour or something like that, so it's just like normally it's like I would like to settle in like kind of more like 10 p.m., get a little bit of an overlap with all the homies, maybe 9, and then keep going into the night and like kind of chill
to the AMs.
That's the idea. I think that's the general idea. Get a good amount of time with the group, and then kind of do my own thing later in the evening, because I do better when I'm kind of just I could do a bit of both. I think that would be a good balance.
So do you you're 10 years deep, you're around 10 years deep.
Yeah.
Do you have any like I get, because you've like you've hit so much milestones, like do you have any goals for the future? Like what does Timmac want at this? What would his desires be at this point?
Stay relevant.
Yeah.
That's literally every year though. It's hard, man. That is actually the hardest part of streaming, is to stay relevant.
Yeah.
And like if you're not in the right thing, then you're out. Or you have to find another way to be back in it.
Yeah.
So
you got to continually evolve.
It's that part is probably the most stressful of it all, is trying to have that security, which you can't, which is so, and that's why like when you're in a server like this, and they are literally your boss in a sense. You have to live, go by their rules, or and you know the however many people on staff, they need to like what you're doing, or if they don't, then you're out and you're almost out of a lot of your income too.
Yeah.
So it's a tough. And then there's so many different communities over time. You don't know when another one's going to pop up in the future. If this one's going to be the one for a while, you know, like there's always seems to be, I don't know, a shift in some way, either a new game or a new community or whatever it is. So ideally, I'd love to just stick with it, and you know, but it is still a bit of
it's like a gamble a little bit.
It's a little bit eggshells, let's just say, like, because you don't know what the reaction is, and what, like, no one's giving you feedback, so you don't know if you're doing something right or wrong. And like, you know, let's just say there have been times where I have been reached out to for things I haven't liked, and then it's kind of like, okay, how do I adjust? And you know, are they happy now? You don't hear that part. You just hear when they're not. So it's like you just worry, you know, you have this looming like worry about what you're doing.
Yeah, it definitely can be intense. But it's like you said, when you know, like how the approach was before was like, you know, like people would know stuff, and it was like, you know, like banning people and everybody knows. It kind of,
it got a bit much more private, which I honestly prefer.
I think private's good, to be fair. Yeah,
it is much better. I mean, you can but you don't know. I don't know how much I can really share with like some of the stuff, but it's more like you just want to, you know, you'd rather it be done in private. So if you don't, it's like you don't want your bad shit being smeared around. But if they're not happy, they have to do something about it, and that's fine. Like I'm okay with that. Like I understand that approach, and that's kind of. Like, I completely understand with the Arma background, seeing that being the new direction and the right way to do it, because why spread toxicity and blast people for doing something wrong and telling everybody why? And it's like, and then they start looking for it, and it's just like, it just becomes this nasty culture. So I'm all about the direction with that. But it's but then at the same time, that's your job. You need to make them happy, or your income suffers significantly, especially when things are big like right now.
Yeah, things are huge right now.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
So you just gotta stay positive, keep doing what you're doing, and
positive.
Hey, you survived 10 years. Hey, like, hey.
Sometimes it's easy. It's not. It wasn't just the, you know, rainbows and sunshine.
No, for sure.
I was trudging through the pits for a bit there.
But you know, sometimes you gotta look back where you came from to be like, wow, like, you know, because people don't realize how far they've came. They've always wanted to like, oh, I need to be here, but then it's like, damn, a lot of people didn't make it to where you've been at 10 years consistently, even through the hardships. A lot of people would have gave up. A lot of people would have quit. You know,
most people did. And that's that. I think that's my biggest, you know, accomplishment, is to be able to stick around this long and still be relevant. And but I still feel like it can go away at any time. So I'm never really, I'm trying not to get too comfortable, even though I probably can be. Yeah. It's just more like I worry about it all going away in like an instant, you know. And then what?
Then what? Well, you know, I say, you know, never. You know, I've read quite a few books in my time, and I always believe fear is an illusion, and you know, you can't base life off fear. You just gotta go with what it is, because you know, shit always works itself out, and always will work in your favor. It's just how you think, you know.
True.
Yeah,
that's good advice. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and not to get too deep, but like, the doubt, like, I notice if I doubt stuff, it becomes it. When I'm just more of like,
oh yes,
yeah, I almost manifest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so like now when I doubt stuff, I also I look at it and say, why am I thinking this way? And I correct my train of thought, and now it just goes away.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
It was like if you think of like back here, like high school, you know, you really like this girl and like you're with her and you feel like you're gonna break up. You all do. When you didn't care, it would never happen. So it's like
right. When you give it focus, then you manifest it. Yeah.
when you give it focus, you manifest it. So me knowing that, I don't focus on doubt. I just focus on like even like like for me, like for example, like I don't have prio, and I was like, oh man, like it's. But then I'm like, all right, well while I'm in queue, I'm gonna do other things, and then I'm like, oh, I gotta get back on a podcast, and then that made me have this podcast with you. You know what I'm saying?
Nice,
So
nice,
I always just
yeah.
like positive. Like there's so much things that can come out of it. It's easier said than done. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It really is because we're trained beings to focus on the negative.
Exactly.
When you see it, it's that like everything, this clean ass like perfect room, like science level cleanliness, and then you have like this like one cup in the middle of the room that's just sitting there, and you're like, that's all you can look at.
It's so true. It's like our natural habit, but I think once you're aware of it and you can correct that thought and you analyze it and you kind of say, why am I thinking this way, and you develop other things that are bigger than you. So
yeah,
but that's my tips.
No, that honestly that's like a life tip for a lot of things, which it's a lot of times you need those reminders in life to kind of get you back on track and refocus.
Yeah.
So you could, because sometimes it's you just don't you get stuck in it. You never really pull yourself out. So
Tim, you got to think about it, right? There's so many people on this earth that would love to be in your position, right? They look at you and
I'm very fortunate. I know.
And then, but then you might be looking at other people, like you said, the 10K Andes, and be like, wow. And it's always, and I noticed like in life, I was like, once you get to a certain level, it becomes like kind of like nothing, It's like you'll get to that 10K Andy and you'll be like, I want 50. So I've got to that point of my life where I just appreciate everything like that I'm in, So then because the process is the appreciation. So the 100 Andy, I'm like, ooh, yeah.
Dude, every little bit, you like, that's what they say. You always want to race against yourself, right? And don't compare yourself to other people. Just try to be the best version of yourself and try to do better every day. And that's
1% every day is is a step.
So it's compounding growth too.
Compounding growth, and that's what matters. And you're a testimony of that. Consistency is. I've never found someone that wasn't consistent successful. So
it's hard. It's hard, and it's a lot of work, and it's there's a lot of like mental fortitude you have to have with it, or you will, you gotta just the tide will take you away. If you don't keep swimming against it.
And that's why, believe it or not, Tim, you are a legend in this whole industry. You're one of the pillars of this GTA this role playing thing. Like your name always gets mentioned, and that's huge.
Well,
that's huge.
I don't think of myself that way. I've tried to take a humble approach when it comes to shit like that, but I appreciate it. It's
no, like for real. So and
it's been my focus since the beginning.
And even having this interview with you, like, because I look up to always greatness, and I was like, yo man, Timmac, he's just so good. Like, how does he? And it's like a lot of this interview was for me personally, because I'm getting these gems. I'm getting these gems, and I'm just like, bro, this guy is like just to pick your brain and how your train of thought works, and how you come up with these things, and how you're so multi-talented and multi-vast in many ways. And me personally, I'm just grateful to even have this conversation with you, and the world gets to see it. And I just want to say thank you, man. Because
my goal from the beginning was to, I saw something special in RP in the very beginning, and it wasn't that games are fun, but games are fun with other people, and adding that human element to the video games, you actually learn about people and meet others, and actually, there's this really special thing that comes out of it, which something like this, where you're just having, someone you meet along the way that you can now, consider homie, and
Yeah,
then just
yeah.
kind of like you're you know, you
Yeah,
don't really get that like all the time. So it's yeah, and you really learn about somebody in like with their characters to like see how
yes. And
what kind
and
of person
and
they actually
di-
are.
like I said, different people, different cultures, people you might even have never interacted with in life. You get to do that now, and you can build great relationships with it. So it's definitely a good space, and people who have anxiety problems, a lot of things, people can overcome these things.
Dude, I have crazy anxiety. I still,
Yeah,
you can get through it though. You know, there's
yeah,
ways to cope, and yeah, it's a tough one, but like this RP is a great way to overcome that anxiety for sure.
I believe that. I believe that. All right, Tim,
Yeah,
I
man, it's like
appreciate you. This
yeah, hell
interview
yeah,
was
thanks,
good.
Al.
We done it for an hour and 20 minutes. If you guys like this interview, make sure you leave a comment. Hey, if I miss anything, write it in the
Subscribe, hit
comments.
the bell.
I'll let Tim know. We might do a part 2.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down. Just let me know. I have no problem with it. So I'm very easy to get a hold of. Just reach out. Anybody really. I may not always respond, but I always do read. So
Hear that?
you know.
You hear that first, guys?
Yeah, dude.
Peace.